Hey everyone, God of War here with our first chainmail tutorial. Today, I'm going to be showing you all how to make the European 4-in-1 pattern. Basically, we're going to be turning rings like this into something like this. This is the most basic chainmail pattern that you can do, and it is pretty much the template for anything from bracelets to bishop's mantles to full chainmail armor. Most of the stuff that you'll see out there is European 4-in-1. And for those of you just getting into chainmail, this is something you're going to have to master. So today, I'm going to be showing you how to do just that. Now, to get started, you're going to need some tools. Pretty much everything that I buy for my chainmail, I get through TheRingLord.com. I'll have the link in the description if you'd like to check them out. They're probably the most widely known chainmail provider as far as stuff like rings, pliers, scales, patterns, templates. Depending on what you want to do, the TheRingLord will probably have it. So, to get started with chainmail, you only need a few things. Obviously, you need rings. The rings that I'm using today are 16 gauge stainless steel, 5/16 inner diameter. I chose these rings because I make a lot of scale mail projects, and these are the size recommendations for the type of scales that I use. Now, depending on your project, you might need bigger rings, smaller rings, different material than stainless steel. It's really based on what you're going to make. For all intensive purposes today, these are the rings we're going to be using to make the basic European 4-in-1 pattern. When you get your rings, you'll see that they are not opened or closed. You can see there's a slight offset between both endpoints. And the reason for that is how they're cut. They're all made on a wooden dowel, and they're either cut by a saw or by special pliers. So you'll never see rings that you purchase fully closed or fully open. So that is something that we are going to have to do as we go along. Now, when making the European 4-in-1 pattern, it requires 5 rings. The reason for that is in the name. 4 rings go into 1 ring. So by starting off, we'll take our first ring, open it up, so that we can place the other 4 rings inside it. Now, before we do that, we need to close the gap on the last 4 rings. So we'll take our pliers, and the pliers that I use I also got from TheRingLord.com. These are wide nose jeweler's pliers. The reason I like these is because they're spring loaded, and if you're using material like aluminum or precious metals, something that can scratch easily, jeweler's pliers don't have teeth in them, unlike some of the pliers you'll buy in the store, say your local hardware store or wherever they sell pliers around. So jeweler's pliers, wide nose, are what I use for all of my work. Now we'll close these 4 rings. I like to take my finger along both edges just to make sure that it's closed properly. That way, when you're creating your own projects, they won't get snagged on hair or clothing, anything like that. It's very important that both edges be smooth and that the ring is closed all the way. So I will close these last 3. And now we can move on to assembling our first piece. Now, when making chainmail, you are going to be making a lot of these. A lot of these. It might seem tedious, but it's just something that has to be done. the way I kind of pass the time while I make my rings is I'll have, Netflix or Hulu or something on YouTube on in the background. This is just kind of the task that you do while you're watching something else. So we'll put all 4 rings into the one ring that we opened. You see you now have 4 in 1. See where they get the name from? And then we'll close the open ring. Again, making sure that the edges are smooth because we don't want it to get caught on anything while we're wearing it. And you'll come out with something that looks like this. Now, the proper placement on your workstation for this is 2 rings on either side, that it looks just like that. That is the base for every 4-in-1 chainmail pattern. Now, there are many variations that you can go off of from this. It's only making half of the piece, so essentially a 2-in-1 instead of a 4. But we will go over that at a later time. Right now, we're just focusing on the basics, how to make the 4-in-1 pattern, and how to connect rows to make a big strip, like I showed you in the very beginning. So this will turn into something like this. Now you can see if I put them side by side, they match up. So now we just need to make a few more, and I'll show you how to connect them. Okay, now, see we have 4 of the same. We're going to rearrange them so that there are 2 links on each side. They all look the same. This is what you're looking for. When you have all of these done, it's time to connect them. So how to do that is fairly easy. You line up the middle rings so that they're facing the same direction. If I tried to connect them like this, it would not be a proper link, and your chain would definitely have flaws in it. So the way you do that is to make sure this middle ring are facing the same way on both pieces. Now you'll just line them up. They'll overlap. One will go squeeze underneath the other. And we'll take another ring, open it up. To connect these, it's an under-over pattern. So you'll see this first overlap that we made. We're going to put the open end of the ring through that. It'll loop underneath the piece, and it will come up through the top overlap that we made. Now, it may sound easy to do that, but on these shorter pieces, it can be more difficult. Once your project lengthens, once you get some weight behind your piece, hooking your 4-in-1 pieces together becomes a lot easier. So we'll go in through one side, and then we'll come out through that second hole. I just lift the whole piece up when it's small. If you see a pattern like this, 2 links in the middle and 1 per each side after you lift it up, you know you've done it correctly. Now, if you only see 3 links in there, you know you missed one, so you have to reline them up and redo your under and through method. Now we're going to close this link. Again, making sure that it's smooth on both sides. And I grab these bottom 2 links just so it doesn't distort, and I lay it down. Now, anytime you make a piece like this and you put it down, it's going to look something like this. It's not going to look like how you lined it up. So to fix it, you just need to rearrange the links so that they match this pattern that you put down originally. So in this case, we're going to flip that one over, and this one just needs to be twisted around. And that is how you link 4-in-1 European chainmail together. Again, you line them up for the overlap. Open your ring. You're going to go down through the bottom, underneath, and then up through that second top overlap that we made. I'll go right up through the overlap. Pull the whole thing up. Again, it looks right. Same kind of pattern. 2 in the middle, 2 on the sides. How you know we didn't miss anything. Close that link. Again, I still grab the bottom 2 links. That's just my preference. You can do it however you want. You can throw it down on the table in a fit of rage. You can set it down gently. However you'd like to is up to you. That's my go-to, is grabbing those bottom 2 so it lays out flat. Hook our last one up. Link. Top down. And it goes underneath and basically scoop up through the last hole. Again, as your piece gets bigger, it gets easier and easier to do. See? Same pattern. 2 in the middle, 2 on the sides. Close our last link. Making sure it's nice and flush. Lay it down. And now we're getting somewhere. Now, instead of just a pile of rings, you have a 4-in-1 start of a chain. With this, you can do anything. You can expand it to make a bracelet. You can make cuffs with it. You can do pretty much whatever you would like. But this is the base pattern for European 4-in-1 chainmail. I want to thank you guys for watching. Again, my name is God of War. I do stream on Twitch every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning starting at 9 a.m. Central Time. I am in the makers and crafting section, so we do make scale mail and chainmail pieces live on stream. If you guys have any questions or comments, please drop them below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to make European 4-in-1 chainmail.